either class of slide gate, the portion of the gate frame that remains within the roller support is sometimes erroneously referred to as a counterbalance. Use of the term counterbalance is not to be mistaken to imply that the weight of the back frame must equal the weight of the roadway opening section. Although this may create a balanced gate when it's in the fully closed position, the opposite effect occurs when the gate is fully open. The absence of a requirement for any overhead or roadway guidance system is one reason why the cantilever gate is a common type of gate. A common practice throughout the fence industry when discussing gate sizes is to use only one measurement, the roadway opening between the two posts inside to inside dimension between the gate receiver post and the gate support post closest to the roadway opening. A typical rule of thumb for a cantilever gate is the back frame is half the length of the roadway opening. For example, if the roadway opening is 20 feet, the length of the back frame would be 10 feet, and thus the total length of the panel will be 30 feet. Overhead track slide gates have the weight of the gate panel suspended from an overhead I-beam moving on heavy-duty rollers, commonly called truck assemblies. The advantage of this type of gate is that the rollers have the weight of the gate suspended beneath them and can run across the I-beam supported well above ground, free of dirt, litter, and other debris. Many of these gates installed decades ago still in use today, even though the gate panels have been subject to replacement. The first factor when designing an overhead gate is to know the minimum vehicle height clearance required. Although subject to site-specific application, 14 feet is a typical clearance. One advantage of an overhead slide gate is that the gate panel need only be the width of the required roadway opening. When considering the backspace required for the gate to move into when opening, this can be a critical factor compared to gates with large back frame requirements such as cantilever types. If a manual overhead slide gate is to later be motorized, a minimum 3-foot back frame must be available to accommodate the attachment points of the gate operator. Cantilever exposed rollers. This style uses 2 support posts and 4 external rollers. The weight of the gate is typically supported by only 2 of the rollers. The specific 2 rollers supporting the weight of the gate vary depending on the position of the gate. Sizes and relative quality of external rollers vary. Higher quality rollers generally ease the operation of the gate and increase the longevity. External rollers on automated slide gates must have guards or covers on the top and bottom to protect against injuries. The external roller cantilever slide gate is the most difficult slide gate to move due to the weight of the gate panel shifting as the gate moves over the supported rollers. Cantilever enclosed rollers. This type of gate uses 2 support posts, but the 4 external rollers are replaced by 2 sets of internal rollers at the top or bottom of the support post located inside a C-channel extrusion mounted with the face downward. The full weight of the gate is suspended from these 2 rollers or truck assemblies. Non-weight-bearing guide rollers at the bottom of the panel act as guide for the bottom of the gate. With an enclosed track cantilever gate, the rollers or truck assemblies are fixed in place on the support post and the extruded channel moves along the rollers. The internal track cantilever does not require roller guides or covers. Swing gates. Swing gates are very common and well suited for use in residential sites. When automated, they have some advantages compared with other type of gates in residential applications. There are no different types of subclasses of swing gates. Although they may differ in size and materials used, they all move through an arc, typically 90 degrees, to open and close. The primary difference between swing gates is the quality of hinge and how weight is distributed on these hinges. The longer the frame of the gate panel or the heavier the weight of the panel, the more durable hinges need to be. The frequency of operation stated as the number of cycles per hour is another factor in determining the strength of hinges required. Another point when viewing swing gates a support post and how well anchored it is into the ground. The weight of the gate when moving through the 90-degree arc will create stress on the post, and if not well anchored, which can cause it to twist or bend. At a job site, it is important to note whether the gate swings inward or outward, as viewed from the public side facing the secure side. It is best to have a swing gate move away from the vehicle activating it, but if the site is a single gate with a dual direction of travel, this is not possible. In such a case, it is best to have the gate swing inward so that the first time a driver unfamiliar with the property encounters the gate, it swings away from the vehicle when opening. In accordance with the UL 325 standard, a swing gate cannot open into a roadway or a public sidewalk, or other areas where the public might be present. This is not to say that a swing gate cannot swing outward. It can swing outward provided that the area by the arc of the swing gate is on the property of the customer. Consideration must be given to the wind load factor when selecting a gate operator. A swing gate with a 90-degree arc is bound to be subject to the full wind load at some point in the travel. Vertical lift gates. A vertical lift gate is a panel contained within a framework, typically heavy-duty I-beam, that travels straight up and down to open and close a roadway. The weight of the gate panel is accommodated by counterweights to offset the weight load on the gate operator. Alignment of the gate panel within the I-beam is maintained by a cable and pulley system, much like an old drafting board. Many brands include an emergency braking system so that the panel will jam in the track should the counterweights fail. Some vertical lift gates are sold as a system, consisting of the gate and matching operator. There must be a manual disconnect from the gate operator mechanism and a manual hand crank system to raise or lower the gate panel in the event of a power or gate operator failure. Vertical pivot gates. Similar to a barrier arm, which rises from a horizontal position to a vertical position, a vertical pivot gate operator moves an entire gate panel from horizontal to vertical. Having a gate panel versus a barrier arm provides security for both pedestrians and vehicles. The mechanism to lift the gate panel from a single pivot point at the bottom of the gate panel requires greater strength than most other types of automated gate systems. Most lifting systems are either electromechanical, electrohydraulic, or a combination of both. There are limitations to the gate panel's length and height. Refer to the manufacturer's specification for details. Vertical pivot gates typically are sold as a system consisting of the gate and matching operator. Some manufacturers supply the gate mechanism and the gate panel, while others supply the gate frame and allow the dealer to supply the panel. There is a need to plan for wind and ice load by bracing the gate panel when it is in the open position. Each manufacturer will have their own standard as to when this is required and how they do it. In order not to add to the wind load factor, the manufacturer's recommended minimum signage be placed on the gate panel itself. There are factors to consider when using a vertical pivot gate operator. One is the overhead clearance required when the gate is in the raised position. To fit a roadway, it is important to add length to accommodate the setback. If there are no curbs, a standard 12 inches should be added to the gate panel length. If there are curbs, add the width of the curb plus the 12 inches gap between the gate panel and the roadway is 5 inches. A key feature that a vertical pivot gate has that a slide or swing gate does not is the ability for the bottom gate panel to fit and match an irregular surface such as slopes, swales, curves, or even railroad tracks. With proper field dimensions, an even gap can be maintained between the gate and the roadway.